All right, Cameo. We should get into our Nerds to Men on films this week, which is a great movie.
Yeah, we hated it.
We did. We hated it in the best way. The Menu on HBO Max. It came out in theaters like probably around Thanksgiving. Remember me talking about it? My prediction and spoilers for anybody who isn't familiar with what me and Cameo do. We trample all over the spoilers. But
That's right.
My prediction was that they were eating people, that they were going to end up feeding on people, like kind of like what was the Sweeney Todd or something like that. That was just like, I was just kind of saying it off the cuff as a joke when we were talking about it when it hit theaters, but I regretted saying it because I was like, man, I hope I didn't spoil it in some way right off the bat. Like, you know what I mean? Because when we were talking about it at the time, that wasn't like the time when somebody would expect a spoiler. Right. The good news is, Cameo, there was no eating of people.
Nope.
In this movie.
It was almost there. It was almost there.
Yeah, you could. It was a very dark movie.
Yeah.
The guy who directed it, man, Mark Mylod.
Yeah. Mylod? I don't know.
He hasn't done too many movies, actually. Like, the last movie he did was in 2011. And one of his movies, I think the first one, was an Ali G movie. Who
we all know how that ended.
Yeah, that guy became Borat.
Yep.
But this Mark Mylod, I think is how you say his name. He also directed like episodes of Game of Thrones and stuff like that. So I could kind of tell, like, this has like that kind of edge to it that like Game of Thrones would have. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ralph Fiennes is like the superstar chef. And this, last week we did a discussion / review of The Glass Onion. Mm-hmm. And here this week, it's kind of a similar type deal where they're able to put all these different people into like one setting. So this is like a great way to do that with this restaurant. And Ralph Fiennes is like this superstar chef. Been on, I believe he was on TV, Nicholas Hoult, who was Beast in X-Men.
We got Anya Taylor-Joy, who was Magic in The New Mutants. She was in the movie Split.
Yeah, true.
Did you ever watch, oh my goodness, I'm trying to find it, Last Night in Soho?
Yes.
That was a pretty good movie.
Weird movie, but I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nicholas Holt's character had alluded to, I believe, or said something about that he had watched this chef on TV and he was a big fan.
Mm-hmm. Like a foodie.
Yeah. And so he's there to just like salivate over every morsel of food and every word that comes out of this chef's mouth. And I loved his character in it. But
I did, and then I didn't, because people that are like him,
yeah,
I would say the way he was acting, there are people that are really like him,
yeah,
and it irritates because I know a couple of them.
Yeah, but I think that's exactly what he was trying to do with that character. He kind of had that little bit of he was too fanboyish.
Right.
Where it's annoying.
Yeah. And I hated him for what he did to his date.
Hated him? Yes.
Right.
Yes. But he was annoying, and you kind of find out some stuff later that we'll get onto here in a little bit. But some other people that were in the movie, Judith Light, remember her?
Mm-mm.
She was in, was she in Who's the Boss? I think she might have been. She was a TV mom back in the day.
Yeah, she was in Who's the Boss. Yeah.
And John Leguizamo, he was also in this movie, which he's jumped back into a few things as of late, because I just saw him in that Violent Night movie with David Harbour, which was a great movie too.
Janet McTeer. You might know her as the lawyer in Ozark.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right. She was like the food critic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was all these different couples, and there was like a group of young businessmen, and John Leguizamo was there, like, and he was famous, I guess. And so he was there with the lady. I think was kind of like she worked with him, didn't she? She might have been like his PR lady / kind of like our lady Colleen Wing last week. That's why I love like the contrast between these movies, because you get like the ensemble cast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I probably will not pronounce her name correctly, but she was the Elsa character, Hong Chao.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry if I butchered the name, but I really liked her character.
She was awesome. She was great.
She was amazing.
She was like the helper to the chef. Like Ralph Fiennes is like kind of like helper / muscle /
right. It was hilarious. She was like, I'm gonna skip around for a second, but when they were doing the chicken taco, or whatever it was called, and with the guys that had all of their earnings and all that stuff on the tortilla.
Yeah.
He was like, "What is this?" She was like, "Tortilla."
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it. And then
great.
when she took that dude's finger, that was also
man. Yeah, like she was not to be messed with. But like that's the thing, like it starts out like they're having like 7 courses or something. Mm-hmm. And the chef is all like there's the one what did we say her name was? Anna Taylor-Joy. She was not wanting to eat some of it, and he's like freaking out, and like you start kind of seeing early in the movie that something's not like, it's not all just like this really good food movie or so, like whatever you were expecting, or I don't know what you were expecting by this movie, but that was like the first little sign that things aren't kind of like what they seem here. And so as it progresses, like those guys, they print up like everybody gets like a personalized tortilla with like either a picture, but like you start finding out, okay, well, everybody here like has something wrong, like going on. Those guys are committing like fraud, and they've got all their paperwork and all this stuff, and they've printed it on a tortilla. This other dude, Judith Light's husband, is cheating on her. Been coming to all these dinners for a long time
with Anna Taylor-Joy's character, Margot.
Yeah. And she, because would she have been like a woman of the night, I guess?
Basically.
A paid sex worker, I suppose. Because she was kind of there under false pretenses with Mr. Holt. Nicholas Holt himself starts getting in trouble for little things that he's doing that he's not supposed to be doing. And so it's drawing more attention. So we find out some other stuff. Like he gets in trouble with the chef, and the chef is like, well, what about you? You're not such a great guy yourself. You knew when we made the arrangements and I told you that everyone was going to die. Like you knew, and you still brought this lady to the thing because your girlfriend had canceled or whatever.
Right. They had just broken up.
Yeah. And it's like, wait, what? Everybody's going to die? And so that's what you're like, this stuff is going bananas. Then like, and there was like a really shocking moment, spoiler alert, where he brings out like for one of the courses, because like every course has like a really depressing name and a depressing story behind it. Like one of them's about like how his mom's an alcoholic and didn't treat him well, and And so then this like chef comes out, and basically Ralph Fiennes' character, the chef, says that he's never going to be a good chef. Or a great chef. He's a good chef, but he'll never be great. And the dude like pulls out a gun and offs himself.
Uh-huh.
And like everybody in the room's like, I think up until that point they had thought this was like a weird kind of game.
Yeah.
And then at that point they're like, oh, what the, and I think some of them were like acting like this is part of it. This is just show, it's.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of them were like, no, I mean, there's a lot of blood there. And this movie got real at that point.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I thought it was a really good movie, Cameo. It as it progressed and as each meals come out and stuff, there's a more stuff that happened, and I don't want to give away everything because this is one of those movies I feel like where we've given out a whole lot of what's going on, like by just at this point, up to this point. But for those watching, I would imagine that if you haven't seen it, that you would want to have the ending not be revealed, because it's one of those movies where it just keeps building up to this crazy ending.
Yeah. And you know what? We won't go into the ending. Because if you haven't seen it, yeah, we're giving away basically the main plot of the whole movie. It's still kind of different at the very end. Because I didn't think what was going to happen at the end did happen.
Yeah. You don't think it did?
No, I didn't. I don't.
Or you didn't think it would?
I didn't think it would happen.
Oh, okay.
So,
because that was about to bring up a whole different, like, did it not happen like we thought it did?
You know what? Now that you say that,
yeah, exactly.
Now that you say that,
exactly. So that's interesting.
So, and if you've seen the movie, you're probably like, "What are you talking about?" Just think what Margot did before she came back to the restaurant, to the cafe. I don't know what you want to call it. What would you call it? The table area.
Oh, the dining room. The dining area.
Yeah, the dining room. There you go. Gosh, I cannot.
Yeah. So I liked it. The rest of the movie is just like, it just starts pushing more boundaries and making it to where it's horror, but it's not like in your face. Like, it's not kind of like a stabby horror or
right.
Any kind of supernatural horror or anything like that. But it's, I would almost call it a dark comedy, but like there wasn't like that funny as far as jokes.
Nah.
But it was a highly entertaining movie, I thought.
Yeah, it really was. There was so many elements to it to where it kept you interested and not like, I'm just watching this dude cook and serve meals.
Yeah.
Like each thing had its own, each course had its own story to it.
Right.
Excuse me. And different things that they had to do.
Yeah. And everybody there was there for a reckoning, basically. And so that's where you get course by course, they would reveal everybody's place in the whole story, why they were there, what they had done that was offensive. Like, John Leguizamo's character was there because he made a movie that the dude didn't like.
Yeah, okay. So I was making sure I wasn't missing anything on that. So okay, I was like, man, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that can't be the reason why. There has to be something deeper than that. But I guess it wasn't.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't.
No, it was great. So I mean, there was some humor in the movie, but it was real like not in your face kind of humor. But
Aging Dr. Sunshine.
Yeah. But I do think I feel like the movie that was good in that way, like the humor or like the horror elements, they were subtle in some ways, and some of them when they weren't subtle at all, that's when it was like the big payoffs. And so it had like a lot of suspense. Just in general, like the type of horror movie or any kind of movie that's not like a superhero movie or, you know, like that. This is my kind of movie right here. I like it. I don't know if you would say that it had any twists at the end. It just doesn't go like anybody would have planned.
Yeah.
Except for Ralph Fiennes. Like, that dude was a madman. Would you give him any awards for this movie? I almost think he deserves to be at least nominated. Like
I don't know.
I thought the acting by him was so good, like, and they're like so tragic. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
And you don't. It's not like you're like you still kind of don't like him because he's got that hardness to him or whatever that he's trying to put, you know, between him and anybody else. But at the same time, again, you could really, I feel like his character was really believable in his all these tragedies that had turned him into kind of this hard man, you know, like this person who, you know, again, with his mom and everything that had led up to this evening, basically, where he's gonna feed you, you know, what was the line that Elsa said? You'll be oh man, you'll eat less than you'll eat less than you desire, and crave more than you'll eat, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But that part right there freaked me out.
Yeah,
and it was also funny at the same time.
Yeah. What was it? You'll eat less than you desire, and something like that. I think it was something like that, and want more than you'll receive, or something.
I'm gonna see if I can look that up real quick.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, Elsa's a badass. So, and it's not like this movie wouldn't be like a type of movie that the actual movie wouldn't get like nominated for awards, but I'm just saying, like, Ralph Fiennes' character, I think could. Go ahead though.
Yeah, he might. But yeah, Elsa said to that guy, and I'm gonna whisper it too.
Yeah,
if that's okay.
Do it.
If you can't hear it, I'll say it regular afterwards. You'll eat less than you desire and more than you deserve.
More than you deserve. That's right. That's right. More than you deserve.
Like, Elsa was about that life.
Yeah. I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go to Waffle House. Never mind this. I'm out.
At least I can, you know, fight and survive.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So Cameo, it was, I would say, decently successful at the box office. Like I mentioned, it came out November. Made $74.7 million at the box office. Not great, but it had a $30 million budget, so it came out a little bit ahead. 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb and 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, so a little bit higher on the tomatoes side of things. You know,
and I can get with those ratings. Normally, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes at all, but sometimes they hit it on the mark. And I say, you know, 80 in the 80s was a good look for this movie.
I'd probably give it like at least an A. Like, I'd probably give it a 90.
Yeah, A minus.
Yeah, A minus. I could do that because it's not like a movie I would go out and buy and want to watch like over and over. But I really did like it a lot. I mean, and I will rewatchability factor. I probably would watch it again one more time.
Yeah.
So I would give it. Me personally, I would give it an A.
Okay. Yeah, I'd give it an A minus. And I feel, you know, us giving it a letter grade also kind of coincides with, you know, the food ratings for the food inspectors.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
I can't remember what they're called.
Like the people who do inspect the restaurants.
Yeah, man, I think they are called food inspectors.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, they get so yeah, they give them. Like I was thinking of like the Zagat ratings or whatever too, like the big books of like this. Obviously, like all these people were super rich. So this prior to that evening's experience probably was like one of the most highest rated of all the food experiences. Although me, like I said, I think when I get out of here, I might just go hit up the buffet.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always like to get a little bit of a cold with my food.
Just the little sniffles.
Yeah, just the sniffles. Well, that's Nerds to Men on film.
I want
week.
Roaches crawling around. I want roaches to bring me out my food, half eaten.
Yeah. Well, that is in the pay group that I would belong to, like with the roach waiters and whatnot.
Where each plate costs $5.
Yeah.
That's my place.
Yeah, and I got to be able to leave with something too.
Right. I need a doggy bag, please.
Yeah.